I could not believe this when I heard about this one, and I just want to put this out there. This is regarding Ben Carson, and if you weren't aware of the subject matter, it's Mr. Carson basically talking about President Obama's blackness. Now, I could not absolutely believe this, so I'm going to play the clip, and then I'll come back with my commentary at the end.
Jim Politico's Off Message podcast, presidential candidate Ben Carson had some interesting words about President Barack Obama. Hit play.
You know, I did not. I mean, like most Americans, I was proud that we broke the color barrier when he was elected. But I also recognize that his experience and my experience are night and day. He didn't grow up like I grew up by any stretch of
That's right.
imagination. Not even close.
He's an African American as opposed to an African American.
African American. He was, raised white. Many of his formative years were spent in Indonesia. So for him to, claim that, he identifies with the experience of black Americans, I think is a bit of a stretch.
All right, so here's what I would probably say. Well, Ben Carson, it's a lot of black folks who probably say, you live in white right now.
I'm opposed.
I mean, if you want to have that conversation, we can go there.
Well, I'm disgusted with Ben Carson being the arbiter and decision maker of who gets to be called black in America. Frankly, his views on what is defining as the black experience is a narrative that actually hurts and discriminates against black people. In order to be black according to his standards, you have to grow up poor in Detroit. So I ask you, Mr. Dr. Ben Carson, neurosurgeon, why are you now qualified to be considered black, and somebody whose job it is to be the head of international diplomacy, why is his Indonesian experience disqualifying him? It's offensive to me, and maybe because I'm a black woman raised in Minnesota and think that it's a really irritating thing that you have to defend your blackness as the president of the United States, you should be coming to bat for him on one issue alone, and that is, do not try to define the president or any other black man in this country by how people define his rearing or his professional experience. Excuse you.
Let me tell you, boo, bye. I mean, that's the only thing I could just think about when I heard him talk. This is a person who came in sixth in South Carolina.
Everywhere.
He is scrambling now to play the race card that he has been so opposed to. He didn't want to claim his blackness no other time, but now when it comes to him being far down in the polls, he wants to attack President Obama. Why are we even listening to this man?
Let me just say two things, Roland. One, as someone who comes from a multi-racial and a multi-faith household like the president, I will say this to Dr. Carson. Look, my father, who's Jewish, raised 3 black kids. My father, who's Jewish, has been married going on 50 years to a black woman. He is the head of a black household like my mother is the head of a black household. As far as I'm concerned, the part of Dr. Carson's comments where he says that the president was, quote unquote, raised white is pathetic, first of all. In terms of the politics, look, you're talking about President Obama, the first black president of the United States. Dr. Carson doesn't like the Affordable Care Act, say that. You don't like his foreign policy, say that. But when you're talking about, as you said, Laura, questioning his blackness, look, questioning anything about him as a person. Look, there are 5 living presidents. Of the 5 living presidents right now, including President Obama, only one won the popular vote twice. Only one won an electoral college landslide both times. Only one got not both 90%, 95% of the black vote and something like 40% of the white vote. So for Dr. Carson to treat this as this thing where he's the arbiter, as you say, of blackness or whiteness or anything else, at this point just shows how far his candidacy is.
All right, thank you. All right, folks, I appreciate it. Thanks a bit.
Ben Carson lost it, and he lost it a long time ago. He got in with white people, with them cheering and applauding him, and then he screwed up by revealing how unprepared he is to be president of the United States, i.e. Having knowledge of foreign affairs. And I mean, he was a total joke. That man didn't know the difference in pronouncing hummus from Hamas. That alone should have disqualified him, but that's okay. So now, because he's so far down, as far as his election potential is concerned. Now he wants to bring up the race card. This is utterly ridiculous. So what he really needs to do is just be quiet, drop out of the race, and call it a day. He's a millionaire, so he can turn around and live his life comfortably. And I do not mean his black life comfortably, but live his life comfortably, and call it a day.